Good morning, dear students. Here is Mrs. Marwa Farouk, your English teacher for this term, for this year. And I hope that you would enjoy my class. I hope that you enjoy the English sessions. And today we are going to have an introduction to the ways of writing or how to write a composition. I think it will be beneficial for you to know how to write a composition in an organized way and how to use your own language and through vocabulary, through grammar, and through punctuation to form by the end a full paragraph correctly. Let's start by watching a video that will help us to introduce the text or introduce the way of writing. Let's start.
Hi friends, welcome to the Modern Learning. Today we are going to learn how to write a composition. So, let's get started. Writing a composition has always been a nightmare. But after watching this video, it's gonna be a piece of cake for you. So, let's get started. But first let's see what is composition. Composition is another word for writing, the act of writing, or the piece of writing that results.
Okay, so first thing is what's meant by composition? Composition is to compose a piece of writing. Composition is to form a piece of writing by writing it into pieces that results in a paragraph and several paragraphs that result in a full essay. I think that you have taken before that the writing must include at least 3 paragraphs, and according to the genre of writing what you are going to write in each paragraph. But first you must know what is the word composition mean in the beginning. Let's listen that what it is derived from.
The word composition comes from the Latin componere, meaning put together. But how to write a composition? Planning. Yes, planning is very important for preparing a great composition. It helps in organizing your thoughts, keeps good control over the writing process, motivates to write better and faster, and helps to keep on track. To be more prepared for starting to write your composition, you need to answer the 5 W's and 1 H.
So, as she said, or as we always say, that writing a composition must start by planning to write. Of course, what would you know what you are going to write about unless you have already planned for it? You have first to plan in your mind the outline of the writing, and we are going later on to know what is an outline. You have to plan what you want to write in specific in this topic, or according to the genre we are going to use certain information or certain events or whatsoever. So you have to plan very well. In your planning you have to answer these 6 questions. Let's listen to these 6 questions.
Let's check out the 5 W's and 1 H. Our first W is, who is the main character of your story? Our second W is, where did the events take place? Our third W is, when did it happen? Our fourth W is, what happened? And our fifth W is, why did it occur? And 1 H is, how was everything solved?
So now, if we are writing a story, and you know of course previously that writing a story is a kind of entertaining the reader. First of all, you know that writing a story must include at least 3 paragraphs, and there is no end. You can write either 3 paragraphs or more. In the writing of the story, you have to write in the first paragraph, talk about the characters. Who are the characters? So we are going to talk about the people in the story. The characters, not only people, the characters might be animals, might be speaking things, talking things, and so on. Then, rather than the characters, you have to talk about the setting. What is the setting of the story? Actually, it is the place and time. So the place where did the events take place, and time when did it happen. So the first paragraph must include something called setting, which is place and time, and it must also include the characters that you are going to base your story on. Later on, you move to the events. The events are described in the middle paragraph or the middle paragraphs. It can be just one paragraph, it can be more than one paragraph, and in the paragraphs you should write what happened and why did it occur. So in the middle paragraphs you are going to write the events in chronological order. And what's meant by the word chronological? Means by order of time when it happened. So I'm going to talk about what happened first, then what happened later, and so on. Of course, it must include transitions, it must include linking words that move from one time to another, like for example, when you say firstly, then, later on, and so on. And by the end, you are going to write the ending of the story. So in the end, you are going to write how was everything solved and what is the effect of the events on the characters. Were they happy? They were sad? Whatsoever. So in writing a story, it is very easy because simply you imagine, you use your imagination, and you start writing. It can be fictional story, it can be non-fictional story, it can be about real characters, it can be about imaginary characters. So according to the prompt that you have. But simply talking, it is 3 paragraphs. 1 talks about the characters and setting, 2 it talks about the events in order, and 3 it talks about the effect of these events on the characters. Later on, we are going to build our plot on these events, and I will show you what's meant by plot later on in another session. Let's complete.
After answering these questions and identifying the main purpose of your composition, you can proceed to writing. Here we are with the parts of a composition. When writing a composition, it is essential to know its main parts. A typical composition in the English language consists of the heading, introduction, main body, and conclusion.
So as I said, the composition must start with a heading or a title, an introduction, main body, and conclusion. Let's talk about them in detail.
So the first part is the heading. When choosing a title for your composition, make sure that it relates to the presented content. Keep it short and catchy to grab the reader's attention at once. A good title can range from 2 to several words, and it is not recommended to use a heading that looks like a long and complex sentence. Check out the 2 different examples here, and it will be clear to you. The Great Train Journey seems good, but an exciting train journey I had last summer doesn't look catchy.
So, first thing, you have to choose a title that is related to the content of your story. So if your story is about a horse, do not write the running dog. Of course, if it is not related, it will be irrelevant title, so you will lose marks. Later on, you have in the heading to choose a title that is catchy to attract the reader's attention to read the story. And don't make it too long in order not to lose the suspense of it, okay?
The second part of the composition is introduction. Make sure that your introduction is interesting enough to hook the reader's attention. It should prepare your reader for what is to follow. It should appeal to the reader's curiosity. They want to know what happened next. It should be clear and not too lengthy. Here is the introduction of a model composition about.
Okay, so here, how to write a catchy introduction. In the introduction, you must use some words that are catchy and attracting the attention of the reader. I want the reader to complete, to continue reading. I want the reader to be full of suspense and eagerness to read the text. I want the reader to feel happy with what I wrote. Okay, so I have to include a hook. What is a hook? A hook is a sentence that attracts the reader's attention, and makes him curious to know what's going to happen next. And at the same time, don't make your introduction too lengthy. Don't make it too long, because long introductions make the reader feel bored, so he will not continue reading. So in the introduction, it should be precise, to the point, and at the same time it should be catchy and it should be attractive. Let's see an introduction like an example.
About a great train journey. A journey is always an exciting experience for all. It is all the more attractive to a student because it gives relief from the monotony of books and classroom. I decided that during the summer vacation I would go on a journey by train. This is a simple and clear introduction. Her third part is the main body. After the introductory paragraph, make a smooth transition to the main part of your composition. This is the part where the main story develops. A good body should support the statement you've made in your introduction. It is where you express your feelings, thoughts, and ideas on a particular topic. Check out the example for a better understanding. I had a prolonged desire to make a journey by train. At last, an opportunity came last year. It was the time of summer vacation. One of my friends invited me to spend a week with him in Chittagong. I availed myself of the opportunity with a half an hour before the departure of the train. The station was fully crowded. Hawkers were crying out with a shrill voice to vend their goods. Coolies were pushing their way through with heavy loads on their heads. However, the train arrived in time and blah blah blah. So you can move on like this. But the very important point to be noted is that while writing the body, keep the following things in mind. Keep the sentences simple and short for your reader to easily follow your thoughts. Avoid complex structures and expressions. Remember that the main body is the heart of your composition. That's why state the main points consistently and reasonably.
So it is as simple as that, as we said in the beginning. The body must be full of the events that, or must consist the events that you are talking about according to the introduction. So if your introduction is about a train journey, so tell me what happened for you during the journey. This is the main body. In the main body, you have to keep the events in chronological order and make the sentences simple in order to make the reader read the story simply without feeling that he got it very hard and that I cannot continue. It's very hard structure, and I will not read the rest of the introduction, the rest of the body, or the rest of the story. So in the body you have to write the events, but you have to write it in a simple structure in order to make it easy for the reader to read and complete the story. Now let's go to the conclusion.
So here we are with the conclusion. The conclusion is the last but not the least part of your composition. Never end your story abruptly. Take time to beautifully conclude your work. Make sure that the last paragraph of your composition is simple and summarizes the main idea of your writing piece, not presents the new points and opinions. This is a vital aspect of your composition, so it shouldn't be underestimated. Check out the example for a better understanding. It was really a happy journey for me. It added a new experience to the storehouse of my knowledge. It also let me understand well that experience is the best teacher. It is needless to say that the memory of the journey shall remain ever fresh in my mind. So this is how you can conclude your composition. So friends, this is all about how to write a composition.
Okay, so here let's wrap up what we have said Now we have taken that story writing is divided into three parts: introduction, main body or main bodies, and a conclusion. You have taken examples for these, and let's talk about the title. First, we have to write a title that is relevant to the story, and after that, we have to move to the introduction paragraph. In the introduction, you have to write a catchy and attractive sentence. We call it a hook, in order to attract the reader's attention and to continue reading the text or the story that you have written. Later on, you have to move to the second paragraph. In the second paragraph, write the events, and in the third paragraph, you have to write the conclusion. What about the writing itself? In the first paragraph, you have to include the setting, place, and time, then move to the characters and start your story. With a hook, as we said. In paragraph 2, we have to write the events in order, and in paragraph 3, you are going to write the effect of the events or how the story ended. Later on, in next video or in next time, inshallah, we are going to have the plot and what is the plot of a story and how to construct a plot to the story. Try to prepare it or to watch some movies, some videos or charts about the plot, and I will explain it next time. Thank you for your time, thank you for listening, and let's meet again inshallah. Thank you very much.